These are beautiful.
Thank you. So what I want to make sure is, I want to make sure that I have an internal temperature of at least 180. And as I mentioned before, the browning shouldn't really be of consideration. Two reasons. One is we're going to finish the bread nicely with some melted butter and sugar. And I want to make sure that the internal structure of the bread is there due to the high moisture contents of our preconditioned raisins and our addition of quark. Okay, so I put the bread out, and then as straight as it comes out of the oven, I'm going to remove it off the sheet pan. I'm going to remove it on a cooling rack. The cooling rack gives the bread an opportunity to settle internally and vent all over without sweating on the bottom. Then I take the bread and I apply a slight coat of melted butter to each side of the bread without putting butter at the cut over here. So the cut stays unbuttered. Put it in some sugar and just move this sugar all over. And you have to do this right away, otherwise the butter starts seizing up without sticking to the sides, and then the excess sugar will fall off the bread just like so. And there we go. And you repeat this procedure with all the breads as they come out of the oven to ensure a nice finish. And as I mentioned earlier on, as you can see, people tend to take the bread out very early and it's not baked internally. But by adding the sugar to the top, it hides some of the darker spots and it gives a very nice, beautiful finish. This bread has an enormous shelf life due to the addition of the pre-conditioned raisins and the addition of our quark, or in other cases, Cottage cheese or baker's cheese. The bread needs to cool properly to an internal temperature of about 90 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit to ensure that the bread can cool properly before it gets wrapped and or sliced and being made available for sale. So here's our finished Quarkstuten. It now has cooled properly to an internal temperature of around between 90 and 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And to show you how beautiful this bread is internally, I cut it lengthwise, which gives me the biggest profile. And as you can see, the bread is nice and moist. It bounces back just like a pillow, which is an indication that it has been cooled properly. And the golden raisins with the bread looks very nice and very appealing. Okay. You smell the nice sweetness of the bread?
It's really lovely. The cardamom is a nice pop to it.
And the bread is not only good to eat as it is, it's also good to use the next day in either a French toast or even a bread pudding. So there will be never any leftovers. It cuts very nicely and it gives you a nice slice of the product. And as I said early on, it's got a nice bounce to it. And if you could feel it, you will know and understand that this has a very long shelf life due to the high moisture contents the raisin and our conditioning of the raisin as well as the cottage cheese gave us.